Hey folks, it's your girl, Lexi Mahari, back with another episode of Buzzworthy Chit Chat. And in this episode, we are diving into the latest information around Wendy Williams and the Wells Fargo lawsuit. But before we get into that, please take a moment to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so that you can be notified each time I upload a brand new video. So it would seem that if things could not get any worse for Wendy Williams, she is now having to deal with a bit of a financial disaster. According to popculture.com and several other media outlets, a couple of days ago, Wendy Williams' legal team filed a petition to a judge regarding Wells Fargo, asking that they force Wells Fargo to unfreeze her accounts with them. Wendy Williams, who is 57, claims that the bank has possession of several $1 million worth of her funds that she cannot access. Her attorney claims that a former financial advisor convinced Wells Fargo that Williams was of unsound mind. In the court filing, Wendy Williams' legal team said Wells Fargo justified freezing Williams' assets under a previous client agreement to, quote, pause or reject instructions for a proposed transaction pending judicial or administrative remedies, should they suspect financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence. However, Williams' lawyers believe that the bank has overreached its authority because Williams has yet to give Wells Fargo any reason to keep her from accessing her account. Now, folks, this just seems crazy if you think about it. I mean, imagine if you had a bad year and suddenly your accounts got frozen and you could not access your money. Now, I'm going to hope that Wendy Williams, being the millionaire that we know she should be or has to be, has got her money spread across more than one bank. I really hope that she does not have all of her money sitting in one account. Nonetheless, it's her money. Money is money. So do we think that it's possible that they would have any potential legal right to freeze her money? And for me, I would have to say it probably depends on what types of paperwork she had put in place. So let's deal in the hypotheticals for a moment. You know, if we listen to the language again here as it relates to the paperwork itself, to pause or reject instructions for a proposed transaction pending judicial or administrative remedies should they suspect financial exploitation, dementia, or undue influence. Now, I do believe that, Wendy could have very well put something like this in place, maybe on the heels of her divorce. I don't know if she could have even had it during her marriage if she was aware that her husband was having this, alleged affair all these years. Maybe she did that to protect her money should something happen to her, during the marriage. So, because for me, I had questions as to whether or not this was paperwork that was put into place during her marriage or if it was something she put into place during the divorce, after the divorce, to ensure that her money did not go into the wrong hands. I kind of question if that's what was going on here, and that despite what the media is saying, Wendy's like, hey, wait a minute. I'm quite aware and with it, and I still want my money. I need access to my money. And so I kind of question if that's, some of what's going on here, that yes, the paperwork is real, but to what's being alluded to by so many, is this I don't know if it's a retaliation per se. Maybe it is. The stories out there is that and the financial advisor was fired by Williams. I don't know if it was by her directly or if it was somebody on her team that terminated her and her services. But apparently it's being alleged that on the heels of her termination, that this is when this pause was put into place. Her assets were frozen and she could no longer access them. So, it's unfortunate that this is happening. Say what you will about Wendy Williams and her history of how she's, talked about other people in her past media. I think it's unfortunate because, if it's true what's being said, there is allegedly things that are being said like she can't even see her money, like she doesn't even know, what's in the bank. I don't know how true that is. I mean, that would seem crazy, but it's possible. When things get frozen, the goal is to lock it down, right? So it is plausible that maybe she can't see her money or has no sense of how much money is actually in her accounts. But, if it is to the point where she is unable to pay her bills, I suspect I don't suspect, I know she had alimony, right? If that's the case, one can't help but to wonder what the ultimate impact is going to be for her on that front. So I will just close by saying it will be interesting for us to see how all of this unfolds. I don't know if this goes to court. I don't know that they would publicize, what it is her doctors have to say that would prove otherwise, because I suspect that potentially they are going to have to submit some form of documentation, right, that proves her physical and mental stability in continuing to manage her own funds, or in her any decisions she may have made to pass over some type of power of attorney, potentially to someone else in her family or elsewhere to manage her funds. I think that will be interesting for us to see in, upcoming weeks or months. I don't know if that's going to actually come out into the public. It is medical information, which is protected health information, and typically you are not really allowed to divulge that information without the permission of, the patient. So I don't know how that works in a court system. If anyone is listening to that has a legal background, feel free to, share with me your thoughts once it has to go to court. I don't know. I'm not a lawyer and I don't play one on television. So I know HIPAA is a very tricky beast, and, no one wants to break any laws by divulging a patient's information. So, if it does come down to her having to prove her mental and physical wellness, and capacity in managing her money or making decisions to have someone else manage her money, I think it'll be interesting for us to learn more, and that may clear the air as to, whether or not Wendy is well enough to ever return to television. So tell me what you think. I would love to get your comments. Meanwhile, thanks for listening to this episode. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and like the video, and I'll catch you in the next video.